Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for being here. We're introducing the team for Nisun. You will see with me the team members. What I will do is I will go through and say a little bit about each one of them, and then we are happy to have them introduce themselves, and then we can take questions. Okay, we'll do that. So let me start with Jackson on extreme left. Jackson has been with me for more than 12 years on the ground. He was my branch secretary for 6 years. And when there was discussion internally about who we might send to Hougang as a branch chair, I am the branch chairman for Chongpang. So like that, branch chairman are usually MPs, but of course Hougang, PAP does not have an MP. So he did what branch chairman would do on the ground. And the reason we chose, and I worked closely with Jackson, is over the years I've observed, he's a Yishun boy. He grew up here. He's got deep, strong networks, excellent interpersonal skills. Every time an issue comes up for residents or local issues or infrastructure, I will ask him, and he will almost invariably be able to handle it in a nice way and usually positively. With his deep experience, ground expertise, I told the CEC we should send him to Hougang, and he did very well as branch chair there. And when the opportunity arose, I asked for him to come back. So I specifically handpicked him to come back to Yishun as a potential candidate. And I'm very happy that the SecGen, Prime Minister, agreed. Jackson, I said he is a Yishun boy. He grew up here. He is very in with the local clans. Many of his friends are in the area. Some of them ended up with secret societies. Jackson didn't end up that way, though, he understands how the ground is and his own upbringing. He can talk a little bit about it if you ask him, has taught him what the hard realities of life are. He had a very tough young life, brought up by his grandmother, not easy for him. But he survived that, and that has built a certain resilience to him. And these are all factors that I took into account in nurturing him over the years, and I'm very glad that he's a candidate. And I'm sure residents will look at him over the period and make their own judgments. Next, I'll talk a little bit about Dr. Harun. He's a medical doctor, a psychiatrist. He has had many years of community service. At the national level, he's been on the NYC. He is on the board of the Institute of Technologies. He has looked at how our welfare homes across Singapore are structured. He's been involved in mental health issues, naturally. He is also deeply involved with the Malay Muslim community. He is president currently of LBKM. He was a council member of MUIS. He's has had a good feel for youth issues, Muslim community issues, and I've observed him, short period, but very relatable, understanding people well. And I consider him a very strong and valuable addition to the team. And in my view, Dr. Harun is someone who can easily be an office holder. He has very strong potential, and he can contribute much. We get elected, strongly recommend to the Prime Minister. And of course, ultimately it depends on the PM and Dr. Harun himself. But I think he has much to contribute to Singapore and to Yishun in many capacities. Next, if I can say something about Hanyan. Hanyan is a public servant until very recently, a very successful public servant. She took the very courageous step of giving up that public service to come into politics. We're thankful for that. In government, she has been involved in a variety of roles. She was with EDB, as I've said to others. In EDB, she was both involved in the economic issues here and overseas. She ran our Washington office And when you run the Washington office of EDB, what that means is you go out, you talk to the MNCs, you try and persuade them to invest in Singapore. Those who already invested in Singapore, you deal with their issues, you try and encourage them to expand their business in Singapore. And really the focus is creating jobs in Singapore for Singaporeans and keeping our economy going. So she's got a deep understanding of those issues, which are particularly relevant in the current context. They're always relevant, but they've become more relevant in the recent context. And she was also involved with the Smart Nation and AI projects, all cutting edge. She's very good on the ground. I've seen her, observed her, others have seen her. Her interpersonal skills come through very easily, and she is naturally empathic. People like her, as they do Dr. Harun and Jackson too. And I will say she is another candidate from Yishun who easily has office holder potential. And I have very high hopes for her. I think she can contribute very significantly to the country as a whole, and of course to the community in Yishun. And finally, Hui Ying. She was first spotted by Dr. Lee Biwa, and roped in to serve the community. She has been serving in Yishun for more than 17 years. Very committed. I've seen her in many events. The heart to help people is really very obvious. She understands people's concerns. She works hard. She solves the problem, walks the ground, and very enthusiastic, warm, and very relatable. And people on the ground love her. So again, a very good addition to the slate. So this is the slate, 4 of them plus me. I would say a very balanced, a very young, youthful slate, except for me, of course. There's a mix of skills and talents. 2 potential office holders who can go far in helping govern the country as a whole, and who also have good service experience. 2 candidates with a lot of grassroots experience. And, people know that I've always looked out for strong, talented people to come into the team. Last term we had Louis, Derek, Carrie. There are some of those that I picked. So I am very happy that we have been managed to pick and put together a team that I think can do much for Yishun. Obviously, finally, the residents will have the final say. Thank you. I'll invite Jackson to say something about himself.
Hi, friends from the media. Good morning to all of you. Comrades, morning. My name is Jackson Lam. I'm married and a proud father of twin boys. I've been serving the Nee Soon community for the past 12 years. I grew up here with my family and my friends. And I'm still a Nee Soon resident. I started volunteering with the grassroots and the Chong Pang branch in 2013. I also took up the branch secretary role for a couple of years. During my 12 years in Nee Soon, I've worked closely with clans, religious organizations, merchants, hawkers, VWOs, Grab delivery riders, and of course, residents, bringing different communities together and having worked with them on ground issues and initiatives. Then I was asked and invited by Minister Shan to join politics, and I went to Hougang. I learned a lot in Hougang, engaging residents and understanding the different communities there. All this interaction have kept me close to the ground issues. Earlier this year, Minister Shan requested me to come back to Nee Soon, and I'm happy to be back. It felt like homecoming for me. I've always believed in serving with a heart and getting things done on the ground. Nee Soon is my home. This is where I belong. I'm humbled to be able to stand as a PAP candidate in Nee Soon. If given a chance, I will serve, I will contribute, I will speak more for seniors and SMEs. Now let me say a few words in Mandarin. 大家好，我是林伟良，大家都叫我 Jackson 或阿良。义顺对我来说是一个很特别的地方。我不止在这里长大的，我现在仍然还住在这里。我见证了义顺从以前到现在的变化。 唯一没变的是这里的钢绑精神，还有人与人之间的交流方式。最后，我想用几句福建话来对义顺的居民说：我希望大家給我一擺機會，拿國會來發表恁人嘅心聲。我係用心用力，告大家對我嘅信心，我袂讓大家失望。因為義順是咱嘅家，我會好好教育。感謝，謝謝。
Thank you for being here today. My name is Dr. Syed Harun Al-Habshi. Please call me Harun. By way of introduction, I'm 40 years old, I'm married, and I'm the eldest of 4 children. I'm a consultant psychiatrist by profession, and I'm in private practice at this point of time. And I believe that life can only be truly well-lived when discharged in service of others. It is a life ethos that I firmly believe in, one that resonates deeply with me, and one that is entrenched in my own personal life decisions as a whole. In that service is a profound part of who I am, as well as my identity. In my teens, I started volunteering with the Malay self-help group Yayasan Mendaki, and also a children's home known as Darul Ma'wa Children's Home. It's closed now. And subsequent to that, in university as well as in the wider community, I continued to contribute, wherein I was given the opportunity to sit on the board of the Islamic Religious Council of Singapore, MUIS, for a good 7 years until 2023. And early on in my career, I continued to contribute to Lembaga Beasiswa Kenangan Maulud, which is a charity in educational bursaries as well as scholarships for students in need. Since then, about 12 to 14 years on, I'm now the president of the charity, and I continue to contribute to the community in that regard. Other than the Malay Muslim community, I've also been active in the youth space, as mentioned by Minister earlier, where I'm a board member of the National Youth Council, as well as a member of the National Youth Fund Advisory Committee, where we contribute a platform towards fulfilling the aspirations of youth in Singapore. I'm also a vice chairperson of the Films Consultative Panel, as well as a vice chairperson of the Review Committee for Welfare Homes, where we look at the lives of the most vulnerable in our community. Beyond that, I think running for office as an elected member of parliament is an extension of my service to others. I present myself as someone who is earnest in wanting to serve my residents, in wanting to serve my community as well as my country. It is part of who I am, it is part of my identity, and it is my effort towards a life well lived. Allow me to say a few words in Malay, please. Hadirin hadirat sekalian, nama saya Dr. Syed Harun Al-Habshi. Saya seorang pakar perubatan dan pakar psikiatri. Memang bertuah bagi saya dapat mengejar pendidikan sehingga ke Menara Gading dengan peluang yang sedia ada dan yang telah diberikan kepada saya. Ini juga berkat sokongan, dorongan masyarakat dan juga doa masyarakat memupuk peluang bagi belia dan juga golongan muda. Dan memang niat ikhlas saya untuk menyumbang kembali kepada masyarakat. Dalam pengalaman saya sebagai bekas anggota parlimen dilantik di Majlis Ugama Islam Singapura, di Majlis Belia Kebangsaan dan juga di Lembaga Beasiswa Kenangan Maulud, ia telah memberi saya peluang untuk berjasa kepada masyarakat secara amnya dan khusus kepada masyarakat Melayu Islam Singapura. Saya dapat bertemu individu yang latar belakangnya amat berbeza dan pelbagai. Dan saya mendapat inspirasi dari ramai orang awam, baik golongan muda maupun yang lanjut usia, dan juga dapat mendekati tentang pengalaman hidup mereka dan juga titik peluh mereka demi memperjuangkan masa hadapan bagi diri mereka, bagi anak-anak mereka dan juga bagi keluarga mereka. Saya berharap dapat diberi peluang untuk terus menabur bakti kepada masyarakat dan saya juga berharap rakyat Singapura dapat mempertimbangkan calonan dan sumbangan saya dengan baik. In closing, my hope is for the people to consider my willingness to serve favorably. I'm genuine and earnest in wanting to put my best foot forward for Singapore and for Singaporeans. It has been the way I've lived my life as a student, as a doctor, as a psychiatrist, as a community volunteer, in service of others. Through being elected, my hope is to serve the needs of my residents in Nisun, to bring forward the hopes and aspirations of my community, as well as to make an impactful difference for the lives of Singaporeans. Thank you.
Thank you. Hanyan, can I ask you to speak for yourself?
Good morning, everyone. It's really nice to see some familiar faces here. Hi, I'm Hanyan. I am a mother of 3 and a former public servant. I'll take the next few minutes to talk about 3 things: why I'm stepping forward to serve, how I hope to contribute, and what I'll do to support the residents of Nee Soon. I come from a family of service. My father has spent over 40 years in the grassroots, and my mother was a teacher. Through then, I learned about what service meant. Ordinary people making a difference in their own way. Now, inspired by them, I too decided to live a life of service myself. I started with the government where I spent over 15 years. And now I'm prepared to serve in a different capacity, one that gives me the privilege to work closely with our residents, the privilege to represent their hopes and needs, and the privilege of shaping a future for Singapore. If elected, I hope to contribute in several ways, and I'll talk about 2 today. First, jobs and the economy. I've spent many years working on economic issues, transforming sectors, negotiating with companies, and creating good jobs for our people. In engaging the residents at Nee Soon, some have raised concerns over cost of living and job insecurity. I hope to bring to bear my experience as the country navigates these shifts and to address these concerns that are very real and valid. Second, as a mother and a daughter, I hope to be able to represent the interests of families and caregivers. This is especially so as our population ages and as the family size shrinks. Finally, over the past weeks, I have the great privilege of getting to know the residents here better. It's like a one big family here, a family bonded by a very strong sense of belonging and pride. Prof. Faisal has done great work in this area for the past 15 years, and it's very clear from the warmth of the residents and the vibrancy of the community. I hope to build on these strong foundations and continue to serve the residents here if given the chance to do so. Now, ultimately, I will commit to listen with kindness, serve with authenticity, and deliver outcomes with resilience. Now let me say a few lines in Mandarin. 大家好，我是韩燕，是3个小孩的骄傲妈妈。毕业后，我在不同的政府部门工作，服务了10多年。我希望我的工作经验可以在帮居民朋友们解决问题的时候可以派上用场。另外，身为一个上有老下有小的夹心层，我十分了解照顾年长父母还有年幼小孩的压力。我的外婆生前患有失智症，我亲眼目睹我的母亲照顾她时，身心各方面所面对的挑战和煎熬。我希望我可以帮家庭和看护者反映他们的心声和需求，为他们带来更多支持。谢谢。
Thank you, Hanyan. If I can invite Hui.
Hi, good morning, everyone. I'm Hui Ying, and I'm 35 this year. I have been a youth community volunteer in Nee Soon for more than 15 years now. I spent a large part of my youth growing up in Nee Soon. At 19, I started my volunteering journey at an unplanned opportunity where I met Dr. Lee Bee Hua, the former MP at that time, at a house visit, where she invited me to volunteer. And I said yes. I wanted to volunteer, I wanted to serve, and I wanted to give back in meaningful ways to the community. That house visit helped me to open doors to new perspectives in understanding the different situations faced by many different groups of residents. Naturally, one thing led to the other. It gave me a new purpose in wanting to listen, to speak, and to connect with residents. I'm passionate about volunteering. I'm passionate about serving. I'm even more passionate about wanting to build a stronger community together for residents. Over the years, I've seen the dedication of Dr. Lee and Ms. Carrie Tan. I will continue on their foundation of good work and do my very best for residents in Nee Soon. In my adulting life, I have been in the communication space for around 10 years, in the public, private, and the philanthropic sectors. Currently, I'm the Director of Communications at Temasek Foundation, a non-profit organization that drives impactful programs to support and uplift different communities. Dear residents, at the end of the day, I am just an ordinary young Singaporean who has benefited from Singapore, spent a large part of my youth volunteering in Nee Soon, and now ready to give even more. I'm not new to Nee Soon, and I'm ready to accept new responsibilities. In the coming days and weeks, I hope to spend every possible moment to meet each and every one of you, introduce myself to you, and hope to get your support. Thank you. Let me say a few words in Mandarin. 大家早上好，我是李慧莹，我今年35岁，我也是一名青年的社区义工，在义顺服务了超过15年。当年19岁的我，在一次偶然的机会下遇到了前议员李美花博士，她当时正在做家访，她热情地邀请我到义顺南服务，我也毫不犹豫地答应了。这也从此开启了我在义顺为社区服务的一趟新的旅程。回想起来，我非常感激有这个机会到义顺服务，并且学习、聆听和了解居民们的需求。这段学期的旅程，对我来说非常珍贵，也非常有意义。小时候，安迪昂哥们在咖啡店看到我的时候，会叫我小妹。现在看到身高176.5公分的我，也开始叫我高妹。所以我希望我这个高妹能有机会为民服务，为居民尽一份心，尽一份力，一起打造一个更美好的社区和家园。我会努力，谢谢。
Thank you. We can take questions now.
Fabian from CNA Digital here. My question is for Minister. Well, we've heard from you what each of the newcomers bring to the team, right? But what is the rationale for actually swapping out all 4 members of your team in one election? And 4 new faces, there's a lot of newcomers entering at a time of domestic and global challenges. How will you convince your residents that such an overhaul is necessary? Thank you.
We are all new when we come in. I was very new when I was 29 and came in. So for residents, the question is for each one of the candidates they are looking at in their division, whether they believe that he or she can help the residents. And, they will look at the past track record, and they will look at the party. Louis was new when I introduced him. Derek was new when I introduced him. People looked at them, they assessed them, and they said, okay, we will let you come in. We'll put our trust in you, we'll vote for you, and then let's see what you can do. And they've seen the track record. So these people have gone through a very close vetting process. The residents will know the process. But equally, what you're seeing before you is a slate of candidates. Jackson has spent more than 12 years on the ground. I think that's more than a lot of candidates, and maybe more than even some MPs, first-term MPs. He has done a lot of work in Yishun, and he knows a lot of people as well. So he is not new in that sense. He's a new candidate, but he is very experienced on the ground. You take Hui Ying, you had 17 years on the ground, walking the talk, working with Dr. Lee, understanding. She was mentored by Dr. Lee. Between them, therefore, they have nearly 30 years of experience on Yishun. That's what they bring to the table. You have Dr. Harun, who has got many years of experience at the national level on a variety of committees and also dealing with Malay-Muslim issues. He's been on MUIS. He is president of LBKM. If you look at Hanyan, she's got deep economic expertise and deep public sector experience. And as I said, both of them are potential office holders. So what you're looking at is a team of two potential office holders, two people with deep ground expertise, experience in Yishun, and of course guided by me. And the way Yishun has always been run is that we are closely coordinated. I give a lot of space for the MPs to do their own thing on the ground, some guidance. But at the same time, we talk very often about how they interact with residents, how the town council is run, how we make sure the cleanliness and the local infrastructure is maintained. We work very closely as a team. And I think at the end of the day, what the residents will see is who is a team leader, who is a party, what each individual candidate brings. I think it's not so much whether there are 4 new candidates. As I said, everyone is new when introduced.
Minister, may I clarify that the other 3 MPs, are they going to be retiring or are they to be redeployed to other places?
I think we'll deal with that in due course, or they will speak with you
Okay,
on another occasion.
sure. And another thing is, it seems that there are quite a lot of one-term MPs this time. So what message do you think this might send to voters? And would this deter people from joining PAP in future?
I think there are 32 new candidates, as the Prime Minister has pointed out. And, whether there are 1 term, 2 term, or more, you present the best slate that you can find. And some of the larger questions you should address to the SecGen.
Lou from Zhao Bao has a question.
Morning, Min. Lu from Zhao Bao here. We was wondering when the newcomer join your teams, if elected, may we know any one of them will in charge which ward respectively, Kerry Tan overseas.
Sure.
Yishun
You
South.
want that answered now, or you want to talk to each one of them? No, we have roughly identified. Jackson will take care of Nisun East. I mean, this is all on the basis that, of what happens with the elections. First, we need to, fight the elections. But on the ground, Jackson has been working in Nisun East, and Dr. Harun has been working in Nisun Link. Hanyan has been working in Nisun Central, and Hui Ying has been working in Nisun South. And I'm still in Chongpang.
Hi, Lauren from CNA TV over here. Yeah. My question is, was bringing in 2 new potential office holders a key consideration when it came to swapping out the 4 MPs? Considering that they serve relatively short terms, like Ms. Kerry Tan for 1 and Mr. Louis Ng for 2.
I mean, whether the current the MPs who were there in the previous term will continue to serve is something that I said we will take up on another occasion. Yeah. But of course, Prof. Faisal did very good work on the ground. He is now on the ground in Marine Parade. And previously, we used to have 2 office holders in Nisun, myself and Prof. Faisal. If elected this time round, there's a potential for that to be 3 office holders in Yishun. Potential, as I said, many things need to be sorted out, including whether the candidates themselves agree to be office holders. One doesn't assume that. So I'm just talking about potential. But they are very strong candidates, all 4 of them in their own different ways.
Hi, I'm Amber from Mothership. So the question is just that as you're the only member of the previous Nisun team to stand here again, and do you think this is a sign of PM Wong's faith in you and that you can lead a brand new team to win Nisun again?
I wouldn't quite put it that way. I would put it slightly differently. I think people can see the track record in Nisun, how the town has developed over many decades. I've been around for 4 of them, the last 4. And it's become the healthcare hub of the north, the polyclinics, the hospital, the variety of projects that have been done. I mean, if you look at just the last term, if you see what's been done in Yishun, everybody knows about the 7-story integrated hub that's going to come up in Chongpang, right here, within a few hundred meters of where we are meeting. It's going to have a modern community club, 3 swimming pools, fitness studios, hawker center, 300 covered basement car parks, more than 300. We are trying to make it a smart building. It's a beautiful building. Obviously, it's going to have a very big impact on the houses and housing prices around it, and a lot of convenience for the residents. It's, if you look at transport, the north-south corridor is going to reduce the traveling time from here to the city by up to 30 minutes. MOT transport is studying the line, the new Seletar line, and where it can stop, but it has considerable potential to benefit parts of Yishun. And if you look at the local infrastructure, the nearly 1,800 meters of covered linkways, the drop-off points, the fitness corners and spaces, the playgrounds, the cycling paths, nearly about 27 kilometers of cycling paths, the community gardens. We just opened another one a few days ago, the largest garden in Singapore. And if elected, it all depends on how you husband the resources, how you bring together the town council funds. We're going to do 25 more covered linkways, upgrading of playgrounds, fitness corners, jacuzzis, new ramps. But, that's one part of it. It's an important part of it. But more importantly, I would say we're part of a team, the government, that has to deal with very real issues, jobs, the economy. Young people, they want to know that when they come out, they're going to get jobs. They want to know, people in jobs want to know that their jobs are safe, particularly in the very uncertain economic environment that we have. So jobs, economy, investments. And we, whether as MPs or office holders, have a task in helping the government both understand the ground realities and also help formulate policies that can deal with real issues that people have. Cost of living, the rise in prices, how do we deal with them? How best can we help the people who need help? Very, very real issues. And issue by issue, the government has always been solving them. We're part of the team. That's how we present ourselves. No single individual, does anything by himself. We are a team. And the 5 of us are part of a larger team. That's how we would put ourselves forward. So, and if you look at over the years, it also shows, specific to your question, whether, that shows that there is confidence in me that, I can take 4 new young people in. Not quite in that way. I think there's confidence that when we say we have looked at them and these are the people, and look at their potential, look at their credentials, look at what their track record is, we think that people will understand and give them that chance. And we look at 2006, the SDP contested in this area. It was then part of Sembawang GRC, my constituency. 2011, we had the Yishun GRC, first formed. It was contested by the Workers' Party. In 2015, it was again contested by the Workers' Party. And then they made their calculations and they decided that they wouldn't contest in Yishun. 2020, PSP came and they contested. And then I think I haven't seen them, they haven't announced. It doesn't look like PSP wants to come. Again, they've made their calculations and they've decided not to contest in Yishun. Now, I think we have a new party. It's good, people have choice, they are given the choices and they can look at the manifestos, they can look at their track record. It's more that we believe we can persuade people that these candidates, including myself, can help improve people's lives and do our best. That's really what this is about.
Hello, hi, I'm Hans from Asia One. I just want to ask, Thank you, everyone, for sharing. Minister, leading the team here, you mentioned about guiding the other four candidates. How would you be doing so as you gear up for the next phase of the GE?
You know, they're all quite experienced in their own ways on interacting with people and being on the ground. Two of them combined have nearly as much experience in Yishun as I have. Yeah, as I said, near 30 years between the two of them, and they're still very young. And the other two have many years of service in other ways. And these are people who, in our interviews and so on, we know they pick up things very quickly, they are very relatable, they are very personable, they understand, and they have, most important is sincerity and the heart. And we believe that they have that. We got to meld them together as a team. You know, I cannot be everywhere. I run my constituency, but I have a duty to give guidance, as I always have done. And we work in Yishun quite closely as 5 MPs. We don't just go about and do 5 different things. I give a lot of freedom because people have to express themselves, like Louis in Yishun East. He does many things, or ground projects. He comes up, he says, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do that. I don't say no, go ahead and do it. But he checks in with me. He doesn't check in with me what he wants to say in Parliament, though. And each minister deals with him as they wish. In fact, to share a joke, he raised so many issues on animals with one minister. The minister said to me, we ministers also have some rights, If you ask so many questions and I do nothing but answer these questions, I feel like my rights are also being affected. He doesn't let me sleep. So, but that's Louis. That's why I talent spotted him and I brought him in. As his reasons as to why he's not standing, you will hear from him and from me in due course. If you look here, the way we have run it and the way I intend to run it is, the 5 of us will meet regularly. There will be, don't forget, the day-to-day lives of residents will be dealt with by the town council. It's the very same town council that existed until now. It will have to have a new chairman. We will discuss amongst ourselves who will be the chairman. We will all be pitching in. I will give my views on what it should focus on. One of the things I'm very happy about is the town council has managed its finances very, very prudently. And as a result, we have been able to do quite a lot on the ground. And I would want the same approach. Each of the MPs, if they are elected as MPs, will talk to me about their own constituencies and how they will approach their issues, their grassroots. And, all of these areas we will consult closely. And when they find residents' issues which they can't or they need some guidance on or help in managing, I will also step in. So that my role is that of a guide, a counselor, and sort of mentor. Though I have a lot of confidence that with 2 of them know my working styles for many years. The other 2 will learn very fast. They all are very quick learners.
Hi, Simia from Zabao here. Maybe I'll give Minister a break. My question is directed to Hanyan and Dr. Harun. Yishun has quite the reputation, and what were your reactions when you were first told to being fielded in Yishun? And secondly,
Sorry, you said Yishun has a reputation?
Quite the reputation.
What sort of reputation?
Well, it's very happening, that's for sure.
Good.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My second question, well, obviously, Minister spoke very highly of both of you taking up political office positions next time. Maybe could I just get a sense from both of you, if elected, are you willing and able to serve in?
It's not a fair question at this point. I've sprung this on them. But anyway, let them answer.
Okay, yes. So, for your first question about my reaction. So, I have friends who have grown up here. I have friends who live here. So, in understanding where I was going to spend more time in, it's something that I was ready to go. And so far, the experience has been nothing but warm and great. It's a lot to learn, a lot of good food. The connectivity here is amazing. And so I always joke that if I spend more time here, I have to exercise a lot more. So that is something that I do think that I hope to continue looking forward to get to know residents more. A very strong volunteer group here as well. Grassroots volunteers here have been here for a long time. And so the wealth of experience, the wealth of relationship, and also that everybody here seems to like living here for a very long time. Their parents live here, they grew up here, their aunties and uncles also live here. So clearly there's something good going here, and I'm very looking forward to being part of it. So that's the first. And the second is that, firstly, thank you, Minister, for the kind words. First and foremost, I think it's important to reiterate that I'm stepping forward to serve, mainly to do the best for residents and for citizens. And if given the privilege and the opportunity to take on additional responsibility, I'll be prepared to do so. 这是在义顺的时候，有人问我义顺有什么可以形容的，我想是温馨、温暖，还有有情有义。这边的人都是很高兴可以遇见他们，认识他们。希望我可以有个机会加入这个大大的义顺家庭。Minister Shan 那时候说的，我这次参政主要是因为为社会服务的理念是对我非常重要的，所以如果有机会的话，我会加倍努力。谢谢。
Thank you for the question. I'm not quite sure about the reputation that you are alluding to.
She said it's a happy reputation. Thank you.
Okay. I think based on my own experiences on the ground in recent weeks, as well as having engaged with the residents, whether it be in their homes or in terms of the coffee shops, they've been very warm and welcoming to me. And I think it's really about building relationships, trying to understand the needs of the community, as well as the residents on a day-to-day basis. My focus will be very much squarely on the issues that are of concern to the residents, whether it be in terms of the concerns over cost of living, the uncertainty in the economy. And I also do have some specific areas in which I'll be paying attention to, specific to accessibility to education, especially for our young, as well as for those who are keen to upskill themselves and lead better lives for themselves as well as for their family. The second area in which I'm quite passionate about, and I'm happy to note that NISUN is also looking at some of the continued improvements of infrastructure, is really in relation to healthcare, specific to mental health. It is a passion of mine as a psychiatrist as well. And the third area is also towards social mobility, really looking towards the hopes and aspirations of not only the residents of NISUN, but also wider Singaporeans to be able to continue to see the hope in every one of us that in our society, that there's every chance to be able to succeed, and that Singapore, as well as the government, has our backs in terms of looking towards the challenges of the future. So in terms of the second part of the question in relation to what Minister just mentioned, it's kind of news to me. It's actually, we didn't have this initial conversation prior to this, but I think it's important to just really focus on the residents, the people of Singapore, and anything that comes beyond that, as the opportunities come, I will decide in time. So thank you for the question.
Thank you, Hanyan and Harun. I think we have a question from Tamil Murasu at the back.
Yeah, hi. Kritika from Tamil Murasu. So with Prof. Faisal actually doing a lot of groundwork, especially regarding the Malay-Muslim community, Dr. Harun, how do you aim to build on the work that he has done, and how do you aim to actually gain back, not say gain back, but like to gain the faith of the Malay-Muslim community people here? Thank you.
So I'll answer the previous question in Malay initially, and then subsequent to that, I'll go on to that particular question. Saya rasa fokus pertama saya ialah kepada penduduk di NISUN, di mana terlebih dahulu perlu kita lihat kepada keprihatinan mereka, keperluan harian mereka, melihat kepada isu-isu seperti ekonomi yang masa hadapan mungkin menjadi kegelisahan mereka pada waktu hadapan. Selain dari itu, saya rasa memang perlu untuk kita lihat kepada keperluan masyarakat untuk yang ingin beraspirasi yang terbaik bagi masyarakat dan juga bagi anak-anak mereka. Dan ia merupakan fokus saya yang utama dan niat untuk membawa kepada kebaikan masyarakat. Kalaupun terdapat mungkin peluang yang seperti yang dikatakan oleh Minister Shanmugam melihat kepada office holder dan sebagainya, saya lihat kemudian dan terutama sekali ialah untuk penduduk di Nisun dan warga negara Singapura terutamanya. For the second question on the Malay Muslim community, yes? So as a starting point, I think we start from a position of strength where Prof. Faisal has left behind really a strong team, a united front, as well as good, solid relationships with the community here. I am no stranger with the Malay Muslim community in that I've been with the community for very many years in general through my work in the community. And actually in recent weeks, I've actually taken steps to be able to engage, understand and know with a bit more depth in terms of some of the concerns of the residents in Nisun. So we've visited the mosques, we've gone to the qaryas, I've had very many conversations with residents who come from the Malay Muslim community as well, and it's something that I hope to continue to do. Saya rasa segala apa yang sudah dilakukan oleh Prof. Faisal sudah pun memberi banyak manfaat kepada penduduk di Nisun, dan saya lihat dari segi kerjasama Prof. Faisal bersama masyarakat Melayu Islam di Nisun ini amat erat. Dan saya ingin memperkukuhkan lagi dari segi kerjasama dan juga relationship yang kita ada bersama masyarakat di Nisun ini. Saya bukan seseorang yang mungkin isu-isu kemasyarakatan dengan masyarakat Melayu Islam ialah bukan sesuatu yang asing bagi saya, terutama sekali dengan pengalaman saya di LBKM dan juga di MUIS dan juga di kerja-kerja kemasyarakatan yang lain pada masa dahulu. Jadi saya akan gunakan itu untuk terus membina kerjasama bersama rakyat di Nisun dan juga warga negara Singapura secara amnya. Terima kasih.
Hi, morning. I'm Jai from Xingming. My question is for Dr. Harun and also Hui Ying as well. First question would be, Dr. Harun's regulation from the NMP actually sparked some comments online. So can you share with us what made you resign earlier than expected from being an NMP? And what do you have to say about the comments online as well? And for Hui Ying is, you mentioned that you're not new to Nisun, but you're ready to take on new responsibilities. Can you share with us what are some new responsibilities or new things that you would like to champion in Nisun as well? Thank you.
Thank you for the question. I think in relation to my resignation as a nominated member of parliament in the past, I think Minister has also made a statement previously, and I've also given an interview with regards to this issue under CNA. I would refer you to that particular interview. I think moving forward is really about wanting to be able to continue to serve the community. As I mentioned earlier, it is an extension of who I am, who I've always been. And my track record with the community as well as Singaporean society tracks back to even before my time as a nominated member of parliament and is really an extension of my service to Singapore and Singaporeans. Thank you.
Oh, thank you for the question. So yes, certainly I may be new to politics, I may be a new face to politics, but I'm not new to Nisun. I've been here for more than 15 years now, so I'm very, very thankful for the opportunity. I think some of the new areas in particular, definitely, if elected, is really to speak up for residents on their issues that concerns their everyday lives. That will be one core key area. Secondly, it's really then to speak more with the different families living in Nisun. I think what makes Nisun special, if you notice, we have a good mix of older estates and the newer estates where we have a lot of BTOs actually in Nisun. So then how do we actually bring both the new and the old parts of Nisun together, both residents and new residents, together in Nisun with activities, with meaningful projects to keep them engaged and active. 首先，我虽然是人民行动党的一个新面孔，但是我对义顺的居民，他们对我也并不陌生。我在这里服务了超过15年，也会继续维持，并有机会为居民服务，为社区服务。有2点我想要为居民争取的，就是一，为居民继续发声，在国会他们关切的事情和课题，我们会继续在国会上发声。然后我刚才也提到，义顺最特别的地方就是我们有比较老的一些区，他们有一些已经是3到40年的祖屋。然后在义顺的另外一带，你会看到会有很多新的祖屋已经慢慢逐渐在成为义顺的一部分。所以我希望为这些比较年长的居民住在比较老一代的义顺区，还有新 新加入义顺的大家庭的这些居民们一起互动，一起举办更有意义的活动，让大家一起融入这个大大的义顺大家庭。
Hi, my question is for Jackson. So lots of talk in recent days on the ruling party and opposition held wards. For you, how has your stint in the opposition stronghold of Hougang for close to 1.5 years influenced your approach in terms of your politics and how you do things?
Like I mentioned in my speech, I have always believed to serve with a heart. Doesn't matter whether you are in the incumbent ward or the opposition ward. In Hougang, I've learned a lot, dealing with the different residents and the different communities there, using a unique way to engage them. Slightly different from incumbent ward, but the residents there are receptive towards me. In Yisun, like I mentioned, I've stayed here for many years. I know many residents here. I grew up here and I study here, and I'm still living here. So Yisun is like home to me. I hope to be able to serve because this is where I belong.
Thank you. I don't believe we have any other questions. So we have come to the end of the press conference for today. Thank you everyone for being here.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Is there anybody else who had a question? If you do, we can answer. Well, I was going to give you all a quote in answer to this question about, new candidates. I'm trying to recall something I said when I was 29 in Fieldhead. And people said, what makes you think that you can run a town council? And I think first part of it, I remember experience is useful if you have it. I can't quite remember the second part. If I can, Straits Times can look it up and reprint that as my answer. It obtains today, and second is that, none of us will be here and the party will not put us up as candidates if we did not think that we can serve the residents well. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, everyone.